Hey boys and girls, today for our math lesson we're going to finish lesson 19 part 3. Remember, this is a 3-part lesson because there's a lot of things that it wanted you to do, so I split it up into 3 days for you. So last Thursday you were supposed to make rectangles for the number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, seeing how many rectangles you can make with the area of each number. And then you were supposed to make charts that put down what your dimensions were of your rectangle. So these are an example of Grace's charts. So she has her 6 charts here. Brandley just put all of her charts on one piece of paper. Some of you just left them on the number pieces app. That is great. You're going to need these charts, so go ahead and pause the video right now and get your charts out in case you don't have them. Okay, so we're going to finish watching the video. First off, she's going to make sure that you have corrected your charts. I know that a lot of you need to do this because you did not make sure that your charts matched hers on the lesson for last Thursday. Especially for the numbers 16 and 18, I believe. Those are the ones where some of you just gave me 1 rectangle or 2 rectangle. There are actually 3 different ways we can make 16 and 18. So we'll watch to make sure we'll get your 13, 14, and 15 charts corrected, and then we'll correct the next set of charts. And these charts do have to be correct so that when you make your number line today and plot your data, all of the data that we have will be the same.
Okay, so we're going to start with 13. The rectangles that I came up with are 1 by 13, and I only came up with 1 rectangle. For 14, I have 1 by 14, because 1 times 14 equals 14. 2 by 7, those are the only 2 that I was able to come up with for 14. And for 15, I have a 1 by 15 and a 3 by 5. So I was able to come up with 2 rectangles for those. Okay, so hopefully you guys have the same ones as me. All right, so let's look at the second set. So you have 16, 17, and 18 sets of tiles now. So go ahead and let's do these next 3, and then we'll check in after. So pause the video, solve for 16, 17, and 18, fill in your chart, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Okay, so for 16, I have a 1 by 16, a 2 by 8, and a 4 by 4. So I could make 3 total rectangles with 16 unit squares. Now for 17, I have a 1 by 17, and that was my only rectangle. For 18, I have a 1 by 18, a 2 by 9, and a 3 by 6. So I was able to make 3 rectangles with 18 unit squares. Okay, does yours match mine? Okay, awesome. Now,
Okay, make sure if your charts don't match hers that you pause the video and fix them right now.
If it doesn't, I need you to pause real quick and I need you to correct your paper because we're going to make a line plot with this data. So if they don't match from rectangles 13, 14, 15, and 16, 17, and 18, you need to pause the video, you need to rewind, and you need to correct your charts to make sure that they do match. Otherwise, your line plot that we're going to draw here next is going to be all wonky, okay? So make sure that those are correct, and then we'll keep going. All right, friends, we're going to look at problem 2. Let's record our data on the line plot in problem 2. So here's what's given to you for problem number 2. I just made it happen in the video here.
Okay, boys and girls, since I can't copy your problem sets for you, I need you to, on a separate piece of paper, draw this number line. So pause the video. Okay, so you should have your number line drawn. If not, you need to pause the video and draw your number line just like it's shown on the video. So do this on a separate piece of paper. I will be asking you to turn a picture of your number line into me today. So make sure you pause the video, draw your number line with endpoints labeled at 12 and 18, and then push play on the video.
What symbol will we use to represent a rectangle on our line plot? And how do you know? Well, we would use an X because our key down here tells us that 1x equals 1 rectangle. Is the number line fully labeled and ready to have data plotted? Nope, 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 right? We're missing information. What's missing? Okay, we're missing the numbers between 12 and 18. So I want you to add those numbers to the number line and estimate to make those equal spaces in between. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? But you want it to be equally spaced out in between. So you're adding 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 on your paper. So pause the video, add that to number 2 for your line plot, and then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. All right, so here's what I added. Okay, so now ours should look the same. How can we record the data for the 12 unit squares on the line plot? So this is where you have to look at your problem set. And for number 1, how many squares were we able to make? Yeah, 3. There were 3 possible rectangles for 12 unit squares. So I'll draw 3 X's above 12. 1, 2, 3. So now I want you to plot the data for each of the numbers of the unit squares. So you're going back to those charts for problem 1, friends. So for 12, there was 3 rectangles that you could make. For 13, how many rectangles could you make? Yeah, just 1. So you would plot 1 X. And you're going to fill in the rest of your data for your line plot. So pause the video, add in all your X's for your line plot, and then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends. Pause if you need more time. Okay, so here's what I came up with. There was only 1 rectangle for 13, so I'm going to draw 1 X. There was 2 rectangles for 14, so I would draw 2 X's. There was 2 rectangles for 15, so I would draw 2 for 15. 3 for 16, so we would have 3 X's here. Only 1 for 17 and 3 for 18. So pause the video and check out to make sure that your line plot looks like mine. And then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends, I'm glad our line plots match up now. So, I want you to study your line plot and think about a true statement to share about the data. It could be any one piece of information that you want to share about this, but what could we say about the data that's in our chart? So, pause the video, come up with one thing to be able to share, and then click play, and we'll share together.
Okay, boys and girls, so I want you to write down on your number line, or right below your number line, I want you to write down one observation that you can make about our data. Okay, so pause the video and write down one observation that you make about our data, then go ahead and push play after you do that.
All right, pause if you need more time. All right, so here's one of the things that I came up with. 13 and 17 had the least number of rectangles, right? If we look at our line plot, it only had 1 rectangle for those. Here's another thing. 12, 16, and 18 had the most rectangles because they all had 3 rectangles that could be made. 14 and 15 had the same number of possible rectangles, right? They both had 2. You can make 15 total rectangles using the given number of unit squares. That's another fact about our data, right? Because if we added up all of them and counted all of those X's, we would have 15 total rectangles. None of the odd numbers had the greatest number of rectangles. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, they both had 1 or 2 for our odd numbers. Why do you think 12, 16, and 18 unit squares have the largest possible number of rectangles? I want you to pause the video and I want you to think about that. They all have 3. Why do you think they all have 3? Pause and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. Okay, friends, pause if you need more time. So here's what I came up with. There are more factor pairs that make those numbers than the other ones, right? So that allowed them to have more rectangles. Why do you think 13 and 17 unit squares have the least possible rectangles? So pause, think about that, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, here's what I came up with. 13 and 17 had the least because they both can only make 1 rectangle. They don't have any other factors besides 1 and the number. So 1 and 13 and 1 and 17. They have no other factors, so they can't make more rectangles. Okay, so good job analyzing and plotting that data. All right, so you guys belong to Team Awesome for using line plots to record the number of rectangles constructed from our given number of unit squares. You guys did fantastic with that.
All right, boys and girls. So that is the end of our math lesson for today. So what I need you to turn in to me is the number line that you made, the X's that show the data, and then I want you to write down one observation that you made about the data on our number line. If you can't remember anything or if you're not quite sure, you can rewind the video, just rewind it a little bit back, and she gave you all different kinds of observations, and you can use one of her observations if you can't think of your own. So once again, what I need you to turn in to me is I want you to take a picture of your completed line plot with the data and an observation or fact that you made about that data. All right, and that's our math lesson for today.